corona pandemic has started to spread. And unfortunately, we had to cancel the technical training. We were hoping to invite you all to Japan, but I think, as everybody knows, current confusion, it is almost impossible to invite you all to Japan when I think about your safety. So, but thanks to the technical advanced development, we are able to hold this kind of virtual webinar. So I really appreciate that we've gathered. So with this, I want to start today's event. First, Mr. Tsujihara from MOEJ will have opening remark. Mr. Tsujihara 様、準備を。
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
we hear you very well.
Can I start?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Hiroshi Tsujihara, Director for International Strategy on Climate Change. On behalf of the Ministry of Environment, Japan, I'm honored to welcome the AWGCC and the PaSTI-JAIF focal points to the closing webinar of the PaSTI-JAIF Phase 1. Since the launch of the PaSTI initiative at COP23 in Bonn, the government of Japan is supporting the strengthening of GHG emissions transparency in developing countries. As stated in Article 13 of the Paris Agreement, transparency is important to build mutual trust and confidence and to promote effective implementation of countries' NDC. In that sense, the PaSTI initiative highlights the added value to existing initiatives on transparency and promotes engagement by the private sector and local governments by identifying incentive mechanisms and developing user-friendly tools. In the 21st ASEAN-Japan Summit held in 2018, Prime Minister Abe announced that ASEAN-Japan Climate Change Action Agenda with the 3 pillars of the activities on climate change included in the ASEAN-Japan Environmental Cooperation Initiative. This action agenda was introduced to strengthen regional cooperation on climate change and to enhance innovation by using Japanese advanced low and zero carbon and resilient technologies with ASEAN member states. Consequently, MOEJ has started working bilaterally with partner countries such as Indonesia, Vietnam, and Philippines. And we hope to expand the collaborations with more ASEAN member countries. The Overseas Environmental Cooperation Center, OECC, Japan, acting as the secretariat for the PaSTI initiative, has launched successfully this PaSTI-JAIF project with support from Japan ASEAN Integration Fund, aiming at strengthening region-wide transparency by ASEAN countries. It is very exciting to see that the PaSTI initiative has grown successfully, and I'm also honored to be one of the participants in this important event today. It was unfortunate to hear that the PaSTI-JAIF technical training, which was originally planned to be conducted in Japan around February, had to be cancelled due to global pandemic of COVID-19. But alternatively, and thanks to technological advancement, it is very exciting to see that people from so many different countries can gather together using a virtual platform. Since the pandemic, we have realized that there are so many norms in our lifestyle that need to be changed. And this adaptation to virtual conference is one of them. But the year 2020 will remain a critical year to make progress on climate change, and that is something that cannot be held. The west of Japan, especially the Kyushu area, has been suffering severe flooding recently due to heavy rainfalls, which may be a sign of climate change. We all know that the ASEAN region is also one of the most vulnerable regions to the effect of the climate change. I hope that Japan and ASEAN member states can take hands together and take action to fight against the effects of the climate change. As for climate actions, it is of course important for governments to indicate the right direction through NDCs, but actually the private sector also needs to act. So we must provide the right method and tools for transparency so that they can act efficiently and back up their actions. In a few words, this is the idea behind this PaSTI initiatives. I truly hope that we can make a better world together by contributing through this initiative. So with this, I want to end my opening remarks. I hope you will have fruitful discussion to conclude the current phase 1, and that this important work can successfully be continued into phase 2 of the PaSTI-JAIF project. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tsujihara, for your opening remarks. Now I want to pass the microphone to Rohaya from NEA Singapore for the objectives of the workshops. Rohaya, can you turn on your microphone and camera?
Yes, I have. Can you see me and can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you clearly and we see you.
Right, thank you. Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. It is indeed great to have to see that all ASEAN member states are here today, this morning, participating in this webinar. It is a good sign because it shows that we are committed to forge ahead despite the circumstances that we have right now, we are facing right now under the COVID situation. So I'm really grateful to see all ASEAN member states at this webinar this morning. I just would like to lay down the scenario for the webinar. Just to recap, we started out on this project to look into harmonization of the measurement and reporting guidelines sometime last year. As you will recall, we had agreed that a harmonized MNR would prepare us as a region for Article 6 implementation. We are now nearing the end of phase 1, thanks to the good cooperation and support from fellow ASEAN member states also in providing the required information for the study conducted last year. OECC has earlier circulated the slides presenting the outputs and findings from the study. We have also participated in a survey which aimed to understand the priority sectors in each ASEAN member states. This would form the basis for selection of priority sectors. So today's webinar will be conducted in 2 sessions, and the first session would basically look into the discussion of the recap of the phase 1, as well as discussion, and maybe we would like to get comments from fellow ASEAN member states regarding your experience and also any recommendations for in phase 1. And then we will go on to phase 2, where we will look into the what we will be doing under phase 2, and there'll be this presentation of the briefing on the phase 2 concept notes. Yeah, so with this, I'll just stop here, and I would like to wish all of us a good webinar and look forward to active participation from fellow ASEAN member states. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rohaya. Yes, so this is going to be our important webinar so that we can complete the phase 1 and then move on to the phase 2. So here's just a little reminder for today's webinar. I'm right now sharing my screen, and so please, when you are actually observing this webinar, please keep your microphone and camera switch off. And if you have any technical difficulties doing, for example, when you cannot hear anything or something like that, just use a chat box so that one of our staff can help you out. Also, when we are going to be having a discussion phase, and when you want to speak, then please type intervention in the chat box, and then I'm gonna invite you to speak, and then you please switch on your microphone and video so that everybody can see your face. Also, this one reminder is that this webinar is recorded. I will distribute this recording also uploading to YouTube so that you can watch whenever you want again. So this is announcement at the secretariat of this workshop. I hope we are having a successful webinar today. And just to have a small ice break, and so that everybody knows how to use the chat box, I want you to write right now where you are. So I think many people are working from home. So just open your chat box and please type where you are right now, a room, office, and which city, so that everybody can see how diverse we are right now in this meeting. Yes, so we are having someone working in the office, and in Malaysia, Putrajaya, having someone from room. Let me share the screen. Yes, thank you for everybody writing in the chat. Does everybody don't know how to use the chat box? Yes, a lot of people working from home. I think it's a good sign that we are adapting to this corona. More from the chat box. So if you want to have a chat box, I hope you are able to see my screen. There's one box where you can open the chat, and then you can type from the right below how to, and then please write where you are right now. I think I'm gonna just wait a few more minutes or a few more seconds so that people know how to use the chat box. So if you have any technical problems or questions, just write as I'm writing right now, intervention. And then whenever it's time, whenever it's the timing, I'm gonna ask you to speak, okay? So this is how we're gonna. And one more thing. So I want to ask everybody to turn your camera on now. How to turn on your camera is pushing this camera button, and then you will able to make the camera on. Yes, hello everybody. Nice, nice. Great to see you, everybody. Yes, nice. I know I can take a screenshot, but I think this is also good view, so let me have a picture a bit. あやさん、ちょっとスクリーンショット撮っておいてもらえますか。Yes, just a moment. We are taking the screenshots in 3 seconds or in 5 minutes. So everybody is legible.
everyone can't.
All right, so in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, smile. All right, thank you very much. So this is how it's gonna work. Whenever you want to talk, then just please turn on your microphone and a video so that everybody can see your face, and so that we are having fruitful discussion today. So now I think you can again turn off your microphone, camera off. So let's start with session 1. So session 1 is to conclude the phase 1. I think we uploaded a video to explain what we have found out during the each in-country investigation. It was very successful thanks to all your support, and we designed a few outputs documents, which is so-called the roadmap to the guideline. Roadmap how to design the guideline, MRV guideline, and sector prioritization. This will be the official outcome of our project. It's black and white. I think I circulated this yesterday and one before also. This will be our official, so to say, also the plan for next phase. So it was shown in the video 2A. Do you have any question regarding this? Or do you have any comments about this output of roadmap, how to design the guideline for other member states? If there's somebody who wanna talk about right now, please just type intervention, and we are very happy to start the discussion. Anybody? All right. Maybe I can. Did you guys have time to watch the video, or should I go over again just a little bit the outline of the roadmap? Okay, so I'm gonna go over just a little bit about the roadmap itself. Just a moment, please, until I'm getting ready.
Outline?
Yes, outline, yeah. Just a moment, let me upload it. So, wait a bit, let me share the screen. So here it is. So this is the roadmap for designing the facility level GHG MNR guideline for ASEAN region. We developed this to design the facility level GHG MNR for the next phase. So this explains step by step what we need to decide, so to say, as together as a member state, and going on. So this we will finalize this hopefully during this this webinar, and then using this as our roadmap and to create guideline in the next phase. So this is actually the part where we have this, so to say, the planning phase. In this roadmap, we clearly state what we need to plan, what we need to decide together. For example, what kind of gas we cover, or what kind of scope of emissions we choose. So we need input for that, and during this, I hope you all read and this, and there's nothing missing that we need. There is when we decide this roadmap and guideline. So let me go over the document one by one. Just a moment. So. Let me, can you watch this screen? So one of my colleague, Mr. Budika, is joining from the other video. Let me check if he can speak right now. Just a moment, please. Okay. So this is, sorry, there was a bit of technical difficulty. And Budika, can you speak out right now? And
hello, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Somehow I had some difficulties connected to MS Team, despite several attempts with the several emails. I apologize for that. Okay, so how do we go, Ricky? So can I start explaining the roadmap?
Yes, I'm having the roadmap screen on, and everybody can watch the roadmap right now. So maybe it's good if we can go over step by step, and you can explain the roadmap just a little bit more in detail.
Right. Okay. Great. Yeah. And Ricky.
Yes.
Okay. Can you open the roadmap dated 16 June?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm watching it. Which page should I open now?
No. You have you opened the roadmap dated 16th June?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, colleagues, and thank you very much for joining the validation workshop. And I will quickly go through the roadmap just to give you a quick overview about this one actually. Okay, Ricky, you can go to the basically third page.
Table of contents.
Yeah, and I think the basic information everyone knows that this is developed under the Partnership for Market Partnership to strengthen the transparency for co-innovation, PaSTI-JAIF phase 1, and OECC team, and I think I also need to remind involved in reading the document. Okay, so if I go very quickly to the document itself, maybe you can go to the page number, I think Roman number 6. And here actually we have also given a glossary of terms that might be helpful while you are reviewing the document, what measurement means, what reporting means, and all the information are there. And then in the summary, actually, we have explained in the basically how we have reached to this roadmap, what information we have used, and in particular about also selecting sectors, subsectors, and consideration of the input, and everything is there. Maybe we can directly go to the introduction. Actually, we can skip because we have several presentation during the country visits actually. Yeah, maybe we can go to page number 2 where we have indicated the main objective.
Page number 2.
Can you go to the page
Yes.
number 2?
Yes. This is page number 2. Main objectives.
Okay. So in the page number 2, actually, we have indicated the main objective of this attempt is basically to engage the countries in the MRV activities and in order to serve the requirement of the domestic and international purposes. So as part of this, we are going to design a roadmap for facility level MNRV to develop a facility level MNRV guideline for selected sectors. Right? So we are not going to develop the guideline in the next phase for all sectors, but rather this will be developed. The guideline will be developed only for few selected sectors. And I think you may remember during the international workshop that we had in Manila, there were some suggestions from the working group that it would be better if we can also have a scientific approach to select the sectors and subsectors. So in order for that to meet that requirement, we have already developed a subsector and subsector selection as a separate document that you can see. But this particular document talks about only the roadmap, how we can design the guide, right? If you go to the next page, selection of the priority sectors, while selecting the priority sectors, we have applied the multi-criteria dimensional analysis, one of the method, which is the HP method actually. So the input were basically the inputs that we receive for the questionnaires from the focal point, and also during the country consultation, we have also received some input, right? So based on that, actually we have selected the sectors and subsectors. Under 2.1, these are the criteria that we have applied to select the sectors and subsectors. One is basically the coverage of the emission sectors, which cover more than 20% of the emissions, and the country preferred sectors, because this also, you may remember that we have asked which sectors you want to develop the MNR guideline, for facility level MNR guideline. And we also considered whether the country has a legal mandate or not, right? We also consider another factor, which is about the existing MNR system, which is not the case with many member states, but in some member states there are some measurement and reporting system. And also we also consider another factor is actually which sectors you have MNR system under development. So these are the 5 criteria that we have considered actually. Then we have given some weight for these criteria based on the input that we received from the member states. And I think, and then actually we came up with that, if you go to the table 2.4, Ricky, which is in the page number 6, and then we realized that energy industries, which is a subsector actually, have received the highest weight based on this analysis. So therefore we consider energy industry will be the subsector which will be have the most priority in order to develop the MNR guideline based on the regional assessment, which will be followed by the mineral products, right? Basically the cement industry, right, which has the second highest score, right? And then these are the 2 subsectors which will sort of priority, but based on this assessment actually, right? And then when you go to the next page on the planning, on the development of the MNR guideline, first thing actually we need to agree on a definition for facility, right? So there are various definitions that we have also listed here that you can see actually. For example, as part of the this is the first thing when we develop the MNR guideline for ASEAN member states. First thing what we believe is to agree on the definition of facility, right? And we have also listed some of the definitions that we have extracted from the existing EHG standard to program, for example, in Singapore carbon tax. So this is the definition for the facility, and also the greenhouse gas reporting program under EPA. Also, they have a different definition. Likewise, we can in the next phase case, actually, we can go through all these definitions, and then we can discuss, and then we need to agree on either we can agree on one of the existing definition, or we can discuss and propose and make some amendment to those definitions, or we can come up with a new definition, right? And for your information only, actually, we have put it here because aim is not to agree or provide a definition here, but just to explain the process. So once we have these initial definitions, then we will do a stakeholder consultation, right? What we are expecting is actually, if you go to the next page about the stakeholder engagement, we are going to basically reach all the AMS, ASEAN member states focal point, to give their input about the proposed definition. So based on this analysis, actually, we are going to propose a definition, right? And that definition, during the design stage, that proposed definition will be shared with all the member states. That proposed definition will be either as it is in the existing one, or amended one, or new one. So these are the three possibilities. So we will get the input from the AMS, and then if for example, if the AMS focal point, adopt those definitions without any feedback or comment, in that case, actually, we can go ahead with the definition as it is. But in case, basically what we are thinking, actually, we are going to give like a 2 weeks timeline for the member states to respond via emails. But in case, if there are some concerns from the member states about the definitions, then what we can do, actually, we can either discuss bilaterally with the member states who have those concerns, or we can have a multilateral discussion with the group of member states or all the member states to discuss this clarification or the feedback. And then actually we can, in case we manage to agree on the definition itself through this discussion, then we can again circulate among the member states. But in case if there are difficulties in agreeing the definitions, right? So then what we think, actually, we need to have a sort of meeting, right, with all the member states to discuss and then finally agree. Timeline, what we think, actually, we think maybe we need around like we intend to finish this like in a 4 weeks period. But if there are any disagreement or on this matter, actually, then it may take some time. So this 4 weeks is basically assuming that there is a smooth discussion and there are only minor comments for the definition without having a major differences, right? So that so outcome will be the facility definition of facility level. And then actually most important thing is also about the scope of GHG emissions, right? So we need to understand what sort of GHG emissions we are going to involve in this exercise, right? And then for that actually what we are also going to do, we are going to take a stock of the existing, what would the scope of the existing GHG assessment process, like NCs, BUR, in future actually it can be BTR, but right now you don't have BTR, but yeah. So NCs and BUR will be evaluated. And then we also will get some information about the scope of the emissions assessed by each facility, right? Some of the selected facility, right? Because in this exercise, when we are going to design the facility environmental guideline, actually we are also going to select some facilities to see and how we can do the piloting. And then we will also list down the users of this MNR guideline, and then we basically agree on the scope. I mean, scope can be included, but can be the direct emissions only, or indirect emissions, or both direct and indirect emissions, right? So this is basically on the scope how we are going to get. So in terms of the stakeholder engagement, again, it's important to engage stakeholders, and in this particular case, actually, we are going to also discuss with the relevant sectors, right? So it depends on which sector you are going to select, whether it's the energy industry, or whether it's going to be the manufacturing industry, or whether it will be a mineral industry. So depending on the sector that you are going to select, actually, we will be also discussing with the relevant ministries or the private sector organization to discuss what should be the scope, right? And then based on those discussions, actually, we will propose member states through the for this scope. Again, we have indicated like this as like a 4 weeks timeline, but if there are some changes, we need to discuss actually. So basically, outcome of this step, which is the scope, will be to agree on the scope-wide quantification of the emissions, whether it's direct or which element, right? And the next part actually will be on the GHGs covered. We all know there are 7 greenhouse gases under the convention, under Kyoto Protocol. They have agreed to the 7 gases. The Paris Agreement also, the 7 gases will continue. So we also need to agree on which gases will be covered for the facility level, right? And because this also has to be agreed commonly with the member states for the selected sector while we are also piloting. The similar stakeholder engagement will be conducted, similar to the previous one on the scope determination. We will be discussing with the facilities, private sectors who are involved, and also relevant ministries, and also focal points also will be reached. And then once we have some certain level of understanding and then some level of agreement on the greenhouse gases covered, then we will discuss with the member states. Actually, at this point, we expect to have a stakeholder consultation workshop. But again, of course, it also depends on the global issues like this COVID-19 or the issues. Otherwise, we may also need to limit it to the conference calls like this, right? Depending on. So timeline would be again like a 4 weeks period to decide on the greenhouse gases. And actually, some of these assessments will be happen parallelly, but in terms of agreeing on the scope and the emissions, we will be following step by step to give sufficient time for the member states to think and then also to provide the feedback. And then outcome of this step, third step is to agree on a common greenhouse gases, whether we are going to cover all 7 gases for a selected subsector while quantifying the greenhouse gas emissions, or are we going to select only 2-3 options, right? But anyway, one thing I want to mention, based on the assessment on the at this stage, and also based on the consultation that we are going to have with the relevant facilities and the sector, the stakeholders and the government institutions, we will provide some recommendations which greenhouse gases to be covered, and then you will be basically discussing and agreeing on these gases. Right? And then if you go to the next page, it is all about the designing the measurement and reporting system. So once in the previous step, actually, we have already identified the scope, gases, and the definitions for the facilities and all. Now we are going to design the MRV system, basically M&R system, right? The first one actually, selecting the methodology for emission quantification, which is also very important thing actually. As you know, for the selected subsector, for the facilities, we need to discuss, okay, which methodology would be more appropriate. So this decision, actually this recommendation, we will be providing, again, based on the for example, we will, some of the facilities will be selected for the next baseline. And we will evaluate what sort of methodologies are used for this particular sector to quantify and report the greenhouse gas emissions in the member states. So that is something that will be the main, information that we are going to gather. And then based on that information, plus we will also compare the international available methodologies to quantify the greenhouse gas emission and report it for the selected subsector. And for example, we will evaluate in IPCC standards, GHG protocol, clean development mechanism, JICA. So those existing standards will also be reviewed to see which one will be more appropriate. And then based on the information, there is a methodologies used by the facilities in the countries for the selected subsector and international methodologies, we are going to provide the recommendation to you, okay, this might be the most appropriate methodology, right? I remember that during the previous discussion with the member states, also during the previous consultation, like a workshop, international workshop, there were some suggestions to use the IPCC in order to align with the national reporting requirement. So that can also be considered. However, we are going to do some assessment and then recommend the appropriate methodology. So again, in terms of the stakeholder engagement, once we propose the appropriate internationally accepted methodology to quantify the greenhouse gas emissions for the selected subsector for the facility level, so we are going to consult with the relevant stakeholders, ministries and the countries, and then to discuss the feasibility of applying this methodology. And then we are going to agree with the AMS. So the final decisions will be taken by AMS, ASEAN member states, to use this particular methodology or different methodology. So since it can take a little bit time, actually we have allocated like an 8 weeks period to recommend and agree on the methodology. So outcome of the system will be to agree on the methodology to quantify the greenhouse gas emissions at the facility level. And then after that, we are also going to discuss about the sources of GHG. So because if you look at any facility, there can be various sources. So if it is let's say a power plant, of course the main source will be the burning of the fossil fuel. But there can also be some sort of electricity that might be importing to meet the internal energy consumption when the power plant is not running. Or maybe they also have transformers where they are using the SF6 as a insulation gases. So in this step, actually what we are going to discuss and also agree with on the what sort of source of emission will be included in this measurement and reporting process, right? So we will also start gathering the information on the facilities, what sort of information right now they are, what sort of sources they are considering under various initiatives. We are also going to look at what requirements are in the relevant methodology, right? And then, so these are some of the example of the sector, subsector, and the facility level type sources, right? Generators and diesel power plant. And then again, we will be having a similar system of stakeholder engagement that we will discuss with the relevant facilities, relevant ministries of the selected sectors and the countries. And then also finally we will be reaching to the AMS focal point to get their sort of endorsement. Okay, can we use these emission sources basically while quantifying and reporting the emissions at facility level for the selected subsector. Then may also we have allocated around 8 weeks period to propose and agree on the emission sources. And then next space will be the parameter identification. Okay, in order to quantify the greenhouse gas emission based on the selected methodology, because methodology may also have several options, right? And then also some of the parameters required by the methodology may not be directly available in the country, right? And so therefore we may need to basically agree on the some sort of parameters, what parameters will be using, and then okay. And then we will have a similar stakeholder engagement. Actually, in this particular case, in terms of agreeing on the parameters, we are also going to discuss with some MRV experts and the sector experts in the relevant country, right? And in order to get some feedback, because, for example, facility level experts are the one who knows about what would be the best recommendations for them. Yeah, and therefore also the facilities actually that they might be having some information about what could be the best approach for them. So therefore we will be just a minute,
All right, so thank you, Bhudika. I hope you, sorry for the technical difficulties of the audio. There was a little bit problem, and actually Mr. Bhudika was joining us from the phone. So I really apologize again for the technical difficulties, technical problem we had, but I think there was one of the clear information that what we need to define during the when we decide the guideline. So during the planning phase, we have to definitely define what the facility means and what kind of scope of GHG emissions we're gonna take, and then actually what kind of GHG we're gonna cover. And then through that, once we plan what kind of GHG emission we're gonna cover, then we will move on to the measurement and reporting phase. And then from that, it's gonna be important what kind of methodology we're gonna choose, sources of emissions, parameter integration, and also emission factors that we decide together in the next phase. So this is actually the roadmap of designing MR, planning, and then designing the MR. So first, I want to there are still a few more things to cover in this document, but I want to give time to intervene by the focal points. Do you have any comments, any questions so far? I know there was a technical difficulties about the listening, but if you have any comments, we appreciate it. Does anybody have? So are we fine with it? Tony, Rohaya, do you guys have any comments?
Hi, hello. Yes, basically what Bhudika has gone through would be is something similar to the steps that one would require when one wants to start on the measurement and reporting. How should I say, measurement and reporting requirements. So those things that are described in the document are kind of a step-by-step approach, where you have to first define the facility, and then you have to define the how should I say, the parameters to be monitored, and usually these are under the UNFCCC basket of gases. And then after that, the rest of the steps follow. So just to give you a flavor of what is coming. So this would we hope would be able to build the capability among the ASEAN member states to build up a measurement and reporting guideline that would be that's actually a key pillar in any how should I say, even if you want to start on a regional market or carbon pricing, or even Article 6 implementation, this would be very important. Yeah. Also for transparency. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Rohaya. So next is Mr. Albert from Philippines. Mic is yours.
Yes, am I? Do you hear? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Nikki?
Yes. Yes.
Ricky, sorry. Anyway, yes, I'd like to thank Bhudika for taking us through the roadmap, and also to Rai for giving us, the overall concept of this undertaking. And I've noticed in the presentation by Bhudika that under the scope of greenhouse gas emissions, particularly on the methodology, you mentioned about, and also you, Nikki, that we're taking stock on the scope of existing reports that we as submitted by by the member states to the UNFCCC. I'm referring to the national communications, BURs, and biennial transparency reports. Among those reports that we are submitting to UNFCCC. My only concern at this point in time, Nick, is that member states have are on the different level of submission. Like for example, some member states are still working on to work on their biennial update reports, and most of us, I'm not sure if we have already start preparing the BTRs. So it's good to have a stock take, but I don't know how we can resolve this, different kind of stages among member states. Some can present in their national communication. The others could be the BURs and the BTR. So perhaps we have to have an additional conversation or discussion on this, how we can have a common level wherein we can take off at the same time. If that's important as part of the scoping or as part of this stock taking. Thank you so much, Vicky.
Mr. Albers, thank you for your comments. Yes, as you mentioned, there are quite different level of the readiness, so to say, about the transparency. I think one of my video as a output of the PaSTI phase 1, I'm sharing right now the slide. But yes, there are different levels of countries who already have submitted, for example, NDC, NC, and BUR. So I think the difference of the readiness is one of the key, but it is, I believe, but this MRV guideline, so to say, will help support, so to say, build things bottom up. So we are trying to cover as much as possible with using the basic, so to say, basic MRV guideline. And I think for this, Mr. Budika will also have some comments. So I'm going to pass the microphone to Mr. Budika. Mr. Budika, can you speak now? You are muted.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ricky, and also thank you, Mr. Albert, and thanks, Rohaya, also for your feedback. And I think Mr. Albert's point is also very important and also the key point, actually. So we have considered this fact, actually, because the member states are at different level of, level in terms of preparing the national communications and the BUR. Because there are some countries are just preparing the first BUR, whereas there are some other countries who have prepared like a fourth BUR, right? So there is a disparity between the countries. However, I think that's a very good question. But in order to address this point, actually, if you look at the same section 3.2, we are also going to evaluate the scope of emissions measured currently by the selected facilities, right? For example, even though country may not have developed the many BURs or taking into account the several scope of emission, but those facilities might be already accounting or developing the emissions, right? So in order to, I think that because this is going to be a facility level MRV, if the facility is advanced, because in some countries, the facility in terms of measurement the greenhouse gas emissions, facilities might be bit advanced than the countries who have produced more BUR, right? So that can also be a case. So that's why we are going to also get the input from the facilities as well, what they are right now measuring. So this some extent can address this disparity or the differences between the countries, we believe. Yeah, thanks, Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Budika. Anybody other who want to intervene or who have comment on this issue, or anything it's not clear about this roadmap? All right, then I think there are a few more pages left, so I'm gonna pass on to the testing part. So the section 5 of this guideline. Burika, can you continue explaining this roadmap, starting with 5, testing the MR guideline?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you very much. And I think just Ricky, just to highlight 2 things before I go to section 5. Very briefly, I also want to mention that under the section 4, we discussed about the parameter identification. So as part of this parameter identification, we are also going to develop the data collection templates, right? So what parameter will be needed to measure the GHG emissions for the present level, and we will develop data collection templates in this consultation with the facilities and the relevant ministries and the AMS. And also we have put some options actually about how our data will be collected, and if the data availability is less, how we are going to use the default parameters. That approach also we have explained in the roadmap. Time management 2 months, 8 weeks actually, basically 2 months. So emission factors, also the similar approach we have already explained. We have given how we are going to use the default emission factors, country specific, regional specific, and how that will be addressed. That also I think we have explained in the roadmap. The reporting under the section 4.2, we are also going to develop a data management system, right? And how the data will be flown from one entity, from the facilities to the national level, how this data will be managed. And this will also we are going to develop as part of this MRE system. Actually, even though we are talking about designing measurement and reporting guideline, so indeed, if you look at our roadmap, we are going to develop a measurement reporting system, because guideline itself cannot be applied without having the supporting documents, right? So that's why actually you will see the data management system for this facility level MNRE. We are also going to develop the structure of the report, how this emissions will be calculated and how will be reported, how you report the uncertainty, Q&A procedure, and all those things. Reporting also will be developed as part of this one. And you will look at, actually, if you look at the box 5 of the report, you will see the components of the data management system, right? We are going to explain the roles and responsibilities at the facility level, and then the ministerial level, national level. These roles and responsibilities will be clearly defined as part of this one, right? And reporting structure also, we have given one example how the reports will be done under ISO 4064. But of course, as I mentioned previously also, we are going to develop, either we adapt existing templates to all the member states, or we can amend it, or we can develop a new template. And so this will be done under the year. And then, okay, so now I will go to the testing chapter 5, Ricky. Sorry for taking a couple of minutes from to explain the rest of the chapter 4. The testing MNR guideline. Yeah. And then here actually what we are going to do. So once we have developed the MNR guideline, we really want to test it with some of the select. Of course, we already know for which sector we are developing the MNR guideline, and then we will basically identify it like, for example, two member states to test this guideline, right? Again, this will be based on the priorities sector, we have done scientifically in a separate report that we explain. I think this is also a point that we discussed even in the workshop that we to have a scientific approach to example. development of this testing will be and also we also going to identify few facilities. I think you may remember that during the phase 1, we have been reaching to some private sector entities, also some government sector entities which have the facilities to discuss their interest to take part of this initiative. So we discussed with some of them actually, and of course we need to select a couple of open facilities to test this guideline, and subject to the approval and discussion of the AMS, we can select some facilities. So the capacity building of those facilities will also be a component of this actually, and we get the necessary information needed to apply the guideline. And also while we apply the guideline, only we will realize, okay, maybe certain information we can't gather, even though we had several consultations previously while developing the guideline during the phase 2. But we may still find some scope for improvement of the guideline, right, when we really pilot with the relevant facilities. So based on the input that we are going to gather from the facilities and then the local MRV expert, then we are going to also update the guideline, right? And then actually we are also going to have a sort of a validation workshop. Once we have the updated MNR guideline, the level guideline, that has been also tested, then we are going to have a validation workshop again to present you. So we hope that this testing will take like a 12-week period, generally like a 3 months period to agree on. So basically outcome of this testing part, actually we will have the once we tested, we will have the finalized MNR guideline for AMS for prioritized sector, which will include MNR framework. The framework is basically will explain in detail how to apply and this guideline, how to make the calculation, how to interpret the definitions and what emissions will be covered, and everything will be explained in the framework. And actually the framework will be developed in a way that can also be replicated in other sectors if you need. So that's our plan, right? For example, let's say that we are going to select the power in sector or the cement sector. So this we will develop a detailed framework, but if you wish to apply it for another sector, so that we are going to actually develop this can also be used as a sort of a template, right? We will also develop a procedures that has to be followed by the facilities while collecting the data, and also the data management system, how the data will be flown and how frequently and who will be providing the data, plus protocols will be basically developed based on the requirement of the standard, right? What the information should be measured and all those things, right? And then yeah, I think that's all. And then here we have the work plan. This part, Ricky, should I also explain the work plan part, or will you take this part?
Yes, I will take this part. So thank you, Buldika, and my apologies again for the bad sounds. But what we wanted to go over was that we are trying to also create a reporting system with a clear data management system, and having the structure of the report also decided as a part of this MRB guideline. And to do that, there are these components of the how to create the data management system, how data should be collected, and who should collect also, and when, and things like that. That will also be decided during the phase 2 next phase, going over this guideline, going over this roadmap. And then so we want, once we have guidelines, then we want to also text the MNR guideline with few companies, and this part, it's going to be also one of the important aspect of the phase 2. For this, I think we will ask you your support of AWGCC focal points so that we can have a smooth communication with some of the selected sector companies so that we can test those guidelines what we created together. So this is the actual work plan summarizing what Mr. Budika has explained, helped us to go over this document. And so first one is, so this is actually covering a bit of the, so to say, next phase, phase 2, but this is how we should create guideline. So this is the actual work plan / roadmap. So first we decide which sector to prioritize. And then we plan, we define what the facility level is and what scope of emission and what GHG should be covered. During this phase, the OECC will act as the secretariat. We will circulate every time the, so to say, the survey or questionnaire, and then we ask AWGCC focal points, PaSTI-JAIF focal points to answer those questions, and then hopefully we can formulate one clear definition of a facility and scope of emission GHG covered. But again, as Albert mentioned, that because there are different level of the readiness of transparency in ASEAN member states, so that must also be considered. So it's gonna be hopefully very fruitful discussion going on in the phase 2. And once we have the plan, then we want to design the GHG M&R system, selecting methodology, either creating very new one or maybe taking from the IPCC report or something, but this is also decided together by all the ASEAN member states. And then we identify emission sources, parameters, and emissions factors. And then once we have the measurement part designed, then we want to design the reporting system also. In the reporting system, it includes data management system and reporting structure. So who, to whom, for example, the data should be reported. And then once this, once we have designed these tools of measurement, tools of reporting, then we want to test this guideline in different countries, and one of those sectors identified in the first half of this phase 2. So this is actually, and during this testing, we are trying to have several stakeholder consultation meetings so that we can actually work together very well with those potential private companies, and then have a good result of report. And then once we have finalized the report, then we go over again if this M&R guide reporting system and tools has worked well, and then we want to finalize also this report and guideline. So this is actually the, so to say, the work plan slash the roadmap of creating guideline overview. So do you have any questions or comments so far? If there's anybody who want to comment on this, please let me know. Okay, so then Rohaya, could the mic is yours.
Yeah. Yes. Hi. Okay. This. I just want to stress that this. Is it? Do you hear echo?
No, maybe a little bit.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Has the echo gone? Yeah. So just wanted to say that what we are doing now under this project is more to develop guidelines. They are not standards, so they are not mandatory, they are not compulsory. They are meant to help build the capability of ASEAN member states. So, and these MNR guideline, measurement and reporting guidelines, are meant for the facilities, which means the industries, because they are the ones, I mean, they are quite a big energy user and contribute significantly to the greenhouse gas emissions. So I would envisage that because this guideline will be developed taking into consideration the inputs from all ASEAN member states, we would eventually come up with something that would reflect the lowest common denominator of for all systems. So in a way, it will be very basic, but what it hopes to achieve is to build the capability of ASEAN member states. You know, it's like giving you a step-by-step guidance of how you want to develop a measurement and reporting system for the industry. Yes, that's my comment.
Rohaya, thank you very much for bringing that important point, that this is actually, yes, tool so that people could use if they want. It should be not mandatory or something, but so that we can help us some countries which need, so to say, first step of creating MNR system and guideline. When I was doing the in-country investigation, there was a lot of need in some countries. They didn't know how to start creating MNR guidelines. So I hope that, or the PaSTI-JAIF project, I hope that this project will help those countries to take a first step, and then actually having better transparency in the ASEAN region. Yes, I think Mr. Rizwan, you have a question? Mike is yours.
Hello, Ricky. Yeah.
Yes.
I hope that you can hear my voice. Can you hear it?
Yes, we can hear
you. All right. Thank you. So looking at the timetable of the work plan, so meaning that at the testing of the MNR guideline, I was wondering whether the testing part for the facilities to test the guideline that we're going to that have been developed, is it during the stakeholder consultation, or which part of the phase 5 of this work plan that will enable the facility to test the guidelines? Yeah.
So facility to test the guideline is actually during, so to say, the second half of the next year's project. So I think there are a lot of, so to say, testing and errors. So we are, so not only during this stakeholder consultation meetings, I think here we introduce this, our idea, and then we work constantly together, so to say, going back and report, recheck, and then they provide us more data, and then we go back, we reply this report back. So you can imagine, I think the outline or the timetable, so to say, I will explain you more clearly in the session 2, when I'm gonna present you the concept note of the phase 2. But you can actually, so to say, imagine that we will, during the testing phase, we will communicate constantly during the second half of the next phase.
All right, I'm clear now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Any questions? This is appreciated. And
Yeah, just Tawan.
I think Mr. Budika will also want to mention something. So, Mr. Budika, can you, mic is yours. Can you speak out?
Yeah. I think I think that's okay because I understand that Rizwan is clear about the testing part, right? So I just wanted to add some points actually on that. I mostly focusing on the testing, right? Yeah, thanks, Vicky. You already clarified, so I just wanted to indicate that. Yeah, thanks.
All right, thank you, Budika. Mr. Chachawan, the micro, you have, you can intervene now. Mr. Chachawan, yes.
Thank you, Ricky. Morning, everyone.
Maybe your microphone is just a little far. Can you speak louder a little bit?
Can you hear me well?
Yes, just a little more, maybe louder would be nice, but I think we can hear you all. Yes,
okay.
Better. Very good.
It's louder, right? Okay. Thailand would like to have a question about sector prioritization, but you can reply me later on. I'm curious about the source of information about the existing M&R at a facility level in Thailand. At the first question, the source of information, and the source of information about the countries prefer that that you mentioned that Thailand indicates the IPPU or industrial sector as our priority. And I would like to know about the source of information on the two issues. And I would like to raise some concern about the roadmap that Thailand have concern on this point very much. It's about the data confidentiality on the methodology. Because first of all, Thailand is willing to provide the information which were published on the NC and BUR that submitted to the UN privacy, which is the overall picture of Thailand, of the country. As a base, this report should be the basis of the of this work and to develop the guideline. But however, what we're concerned is about the GHG emission and reduction at the facility level because of the data confidentiality regarding the laws and regulation in Thailand. And so I would like to raise this point. Then thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Burika, can you answer those questions?
Yeah. So as I understand, thanks to the and also thanks for our MS Focal Point of Thailand. As I understand, maybe you can correct me if I am wrong about the interpretation of your question. So what I understand from your question is about the confidentiality of the data that we are going to collect from the facilities. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. So in this guideline, actually, we have not. I mean, that's what we are going to agree with the facilities. What information they can share, right? As part of quantification of the greenhouse gas emissions. So as we mentioned, actually, once we select the methodology, let's say, for example, the methodology requires facility to submit the thermal efficiency. I mean, if it's the energy industry or the power sector, the methodology requires facilities to submit the information on the thermal efficiency. For example, the thermal efficiency might be a confidential information as it might be linked with the tariff determination, and the facilities may not be willing to share the thermal efficiency. Right, and then they might suggest, okay, instead of the thermal efficiency of the power plant, so what you can do actually, we can give you the average value for the year, or we may be able to give you the design thermal efficiency, right, or something like that, because something that they can share with us, or they might say that, okay, not the thermal efficiency, but rather we provide you the fuel consumption and the electricity generation. Using those two parameters, you may be able to calculate the relevant factors for GHG quantification. So that's what actually we are not just going to blindly follow the methodology requirement, but we are going to really discuss with the facilities and see what information you can make available for the quantification purpose and what information you can't. So not only with one facility, we are going to discuss with the, for several facilities for the identified subsector in a couple of member states, and to see what they can really share, right? So that's actually that parts we are going to cover some extent. But the next step actually would be that in case they are going to share some information for this quantification purpose. But of course, actually, I also want to clarify one thing, that those information will be shared in manner guideline will be used by the country to collect the relevant information from their facilities. So then the country, there can be a discussion between the facilities and the AMS, what information they need and what information the facilities can't give, and then they can come to a sort of agreement. So, but another scenario could be like, okay, so there is no alternative than undertaking some of the confidential information. Then there can be an agreement, the data sharing agreement between the facilities and the AMS. So in that will also help to address this issue on the confidentiality, right? And maybe I know that some of the countries, they have already established the legal framework for data sharing. Some countries are in the process of establishing the data sharing agreement. But temporarily, you may be also possible to have a sort of like an MOU between the facilities and the AMS to gather those information. But our intent is actually to get as much as public information that they can share, non-confidential information, right? So, yeah, I hope that address, but I'm happy to respond if there are anything. But I also would like to mention, maybe Aya and Ricky can clarify this point, or maybe Rohaya and Tony as well. So this part is actually developed on a voluntary guideline. It is not a mandatory, and also it does not involve development of any legal framework or data sharing agreements or MOU. So maybe that can be the next step, but maybe Ricky and Aya and Tony, Rohaya, maybe you can clarify actually if there's anything on that. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Budika. I hope the audio was good enough to hear everybody, but I'm gonna repeat. So yes, there is data sharing, maybe concern from some country or some sectors, but one thing we wanna try to do is maybe using those non-essential information. Maybe we can get some, so to say, we can walk from there, or maybe we can add to this roadmap about the data sharing. That I think a good idea. So I think we're gonna add one section to this, maybe during the planning or during the, I think, reporting stage, that we're gonna ask you about how you guys think about the how we should treat those information. So I think that's very thankful idea from Thailand. I appreciate it. And also regarding your first question about the why, how we picked the priority sector is it is during the in-country investigation, we circulated the questionnaire, and through that information we choose. We actually identified what the sector priority, which sector is the priority for each country. So everything is based on the in-country investigation we did last year and beginning of this year. Rohaya, you have also something to say, please. Microphone is yours.
Yes, thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Budika, for the explanation. Yeah, yes, I recognize that that's a valid concern that is raised regarding data confidentiality, because we've gone through, I mean, for Singapore, we've gone through this measurement and reporting, and industries, how should I say, are concerned about this data sharing. So I think this should be addressed as part of the roadmap. We should take this into consideration. Basically, the guidelines are meant to actually, when it's sent to the industries, is to test it out to see how the industry find using these guidelines, whether it is very difficult, whether it's too complex, and to give their feedback on how to use these guidelines. So there's no compulsion to share data in this regard. It's just voluntary, and also it could be aggregated. So that's just my comments.
Thank you very much, Rohaya. And yes, Mr. Rizwan, microphone is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ricky. So I'm going through the guidelines now. So for the testing and MR guidelines, so you mentioned here that the 2MS will be prioritized to test the guideline. So therefore I have in my understanding, meaning that you will prioritize only 2 AMS. How is it will be done? Meaning that is, for example, is it will be randomly picked, or is it based on the data gather based on the in-country visit or in-country study? So number 2, I'm going to ask about the selected facilities that to involve to test these MNR guidelines. So you stated here in the box 7 that the selected facilities need to include the companies which have experience on the MNR and also the companies who do not have a MNR in place. So therefore, in my understanding, when reading your guideline, your roadmap here, will be each of the 2 selected EMS will need to propose. You will select the study will select one a company we have much experience, and the other one the facilities that don't have much experience in implementing MNR. So is it correct? My understanding. So thank you.
Half correct. Yes, this is some kind of our idea so far, and I think the in-country investigation we did is also play a big role when we are choosing the ASEAN member states pilot project, but it is nothing confirmed. The country where we wanna do the pilot project is also will be also decided during the phase 2 when we are parallelly discussing the guideline. Maybe and about the your question about the more developed country and less companies with more experience on transparency and not MNR system. I think those shouldn't have to be in the same country. So maybe we can split those. One country where a lot of experience can test one, and then we can go other country where don't have any, so to say, experience MNR. So it is very flexible regarding, it is still yet very flexible, so to say, regarding where we want to do this testing. And if there's voluntary countries where who says I want to test this guideline, then it's very, very welcome. So we are also not limiting it to only 2 ASEAN member states. So this part, it is written like this, but it is very, very open. One issue maybe might come is the funding. Right now we are having problem of getting maybe funding from the JAIF, Japan ASEAN Integration Fund. When I think I was talking everybody during beginning of this year, I was explaining we might get a lot about $1 million for next phase, but this maybe will be cut in half. Maybe we should be happy if we get like 500,000 US dollars for a year. So this maybe limit our possibility to travel around. But good thing is maybe we cannot travel around because of the COVID. So if we can use wisely the online communication, then we may be able to cover more other member states than originally planned, because we don't have to travel. So this part is very flexible, and I want to discuss this also during the phase 2, when we are when we are discussing when we are designing the guideline. I hope this answered your question, Mr. Rizwan.
Yes, Ricky, thank you very much for the explanation. So yeah, I took note on that, and also on the volunteering part to apply the design guidelines by the AMS. So I took note of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any other comments? All right, so I think we had quite good in discussion, and I think we've got a very good point that we should consider about the data confidentiality. So with adding this part, we will circulate this document, the roadmap again, and then the next step is gonna be to you to go over again, and then if you have a comment, then you get back to me. So with this, I want to conclude, so to say, the first half of the session 1, first half of this webinar, so to say, the session 1, and it was good discussion, and I hope that with our revised roadmap, we can conclude the phase 1 soon. So next is going to be the phase 2. So I think I'm going to show you the slides of the phase 3. Just a moment, please. So my bad. I want to explain you the concept note of phase 2. What we are planning to do in the phase 2 is that actually we want to go over this roadmap and design guideline, and then test it, and then hope if that works well. And besides that, there's one more key idea, that we want to develop an information platform on transparency actions within the ASEAN region, because when we did the in-country investigation, again, as you already recognizing it, there are different levels of transparency readiness in ASEAN member states. So we thought that within the ASEAN member states, when we can share information about their experience on MNR, it would be helpful. So that's with the PaSTI, we want to support this, and so that's one part of another idea, not only besides creating MNR guideline for to bottom up strengthening the transparency in ASEAN region, during using sharing information. Also, we want to support the strengthening of the transparency in ASEAN region. So this part also I already mentioned before, that oh, this is old one, sorry. It is actually not 50,000 US dollar, it's 500,000 US dollars for 12 months. Hopefully we can seamlessly implement after when we completed the phase 1, because we want to keep the momentum going what we have so far created. And so we want to, using this money, we want to create guideline and tools, measurement and reporting tools, which identified during the phase 1 consultation in ASEAN member states, and when we are discussing during the phase 2 guideline according to the roadmap. So again, this is the idea why we are doing this activities is to strengthening the transparency. So first, there are 4 key ideas of how we strengthen the transparency is through information platform, sharing experiences among other member states and also including Japan, and development of guideline, and then testing those guidelines, and then after once we tested those guidelines, we want to maybe propose a designing of a pilot project using those guidelines in different countries. So next phase is going to be hopefully when we get funding, using those guidelines what we created in phase 2, design pilot project. We hope that we can, at the end of this year, once we have tested those guidelines, we can propose some new pilot projects, maybe region-wide or in-country specific. We don't know yet, but hopefully one of the outcome would be developing a report with options of pilot project using those guidelines. So this is what we want to do, and objective and outputs. So first one is, as I mentioned already, developing facility level M&R guideline for ASEAN region using the roadmap what we finalize in the phase 1. And then we want to test it, and hopefully we can provide technical training in Japan this time, so that people can get familiar with this M&R guideline. And once we have tested, then for the next phase, we also want a design pilot project. So we will try to create a report with options of pilot projects. And again, on the third objective is developing information platform, which is web-based information platform where we can, where other member states can access and check about the information on transparency actions in other member states, and developing, and then they can share those information. So this is actually, so to say, the work plan with the time schedule. So I think this during the developing of the facility level M&R guideline, we can separate in 2 phases. First one is the developing of first draft of guideline. With the consultation by the other member state continuously during the first half of this next year, and hopefully we can have the technical training or workshop in Japan once when we are finalizing the first draft of the guideline, and then we want to test it. Hopefully we can visit countries where we gonna test, and after having those testing, we will revise this guideline, and then hopefully we can finalize those second draft as a similar session, webinar session like this in the end of phase 2. About the designing pilot project, we keep working this constantly, hopefully, and report it at the end of the phase 2 with some ideas of possible pilot project using those guidelines. information platform will be also hopefully open by the later half of this next year's phase. And I hope that this information platform can help strengthening the transparency of ASEAN region. So this was a quick overview of this, so to say, our concept note on the phase 2. Rohaya, do you have any comments? So Rohaya, Mike, if you have comments, please, the mic is yours.
My comments are basically just some brief ones. It's just I think Ricky has generally summarized the concept of working in phase 2, and it will take about 1 year for us to do this. We hope we can I know that we are right now under such circumstances where things may not be as smoothly as we hope to be, but I'm sure with your support and assistance, we can overcome such any difficulty in doing this project. You can see there are some parts where there's country visit, you know, those kind of things where you need to consult. You have to have national consultation, and it'd be good if by that time borders are opening, but we are not so sure about that. So anyway, we will work around that. Yeah, and that's it. So we hope that you can give us your comments, your frank comments and views on this, because we want this project to be somehow, how should I say, it is good that we see some continuation in the projects that we are doing. We want good deliverables and good outcome from this project, you know, something that is meaningful to the ASEAN member states region as a region. Yeah, it's not just basically workshops and seminars, but also we hope to have some output from this project, meaningful outputs, yeah, meaningful deliverables.
Thank you very much, Rohaya, and Boudica is finally in. It took a long, sorry for the inconvenience, but I think now if you have any question also regarding phase 2 or anything, Mr. Boudica can also answer it. So if you have any question or comment besides how we look, any intervention is appreciated. Do you have any concern or question regarding the phase 2 concept note? Boudica, do you have anything you want to add on the phase 2 concept notes that maybe what I missed? I think I missed one slide, my apology. Regarding this, that one change we want to have during the phase 2 is that difference is that we want to, I think you can see my screen right now. We want to have some local expert, so that because in the phase 2, when we are testing the pilot project, it is important that we can communicate smoothly. So we are actually planning to have some local expert once we have decided which country we're gonna test the project. We wanna hire some local consultant who can help us out communicating smoothly with focal points and also with private sector companies. So we appreciate if you could help us out, who could be a good person who we could communicate, who we can contact once when we really need the local experts, so to say. But this is a new, hopefully, personnel who we could hire once we start the phase 2 and the testing of the guideline. But this is again the second half of the PaSTI-JAIF phase 2. So I think yeah, this was one thing I wanted to mention. So now, Mr. Rizwan, I think you want to intervene. So please, microphone is yours.
Thank you, Ricky, and then thank you for presenting the outline of the project outline of the phase 2. So looking at the indicative work plan for phase 2. So actually Malaysia is looking forward, I mean, to participate, especially on the testing part of the MNR, to of course to develop and finalize the MNR guidelines, and also to testing but because in Malaysia there are some facilities is already keen to participate, especially on testing this guideline. So, and then I have one question on the information platform. I just wonder, for the sake of every ASEAN member state, so who is the owner of this information platform? So meaning that when we develop this platform, where it will be stored, we will be manage it, and then how I think then what is the scope of the information that will be housed in this information platform. So I'm sure that this information platform is not only relating to the documents, the output of these programs only, but of course you mentioned here on all the transparency framework, and then the carbon pricing system, voluntary action. So is that we need to store everything inside this platform, or we just, for example, if a country have a carbon pricing system, so the system will be separate. So maybe in this platform will be only house a link to that system. So I just want some explanation on this information platform. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, and thank you for your strong support toward the phase 2. We really appreciate it. And so about the information platform, we still have to clarify with the AWGCC also actually who is going to be the owner of the information platform. We, as a PaSTI-JAIF project implementation agency, we would like to, we could propose that we can also be the OECC can be also the, so to say, the owner of the information platform. But we also are looking, it's not written details in this concept not yet, but we are also trying to look maybe different organization, international organization can help us support creating those international information platforms. So this part, I think once we really have the concept paper, I think we can propose it more clearly. About the context, I think it would be you are understanding this correct. I think it's more like a lot of linkage. We also want to put concrete information, for example, about the NDC, NC information, things like that. But mostly it's going to be a lot of links so that people can actually first access our website and then jump to the information people want to get. So I think it's going to be the mixed idea of both about we having primary information, or we make information more, so to say, clean way, more easy way to see people. We gather information, and also the information platform should be where people can also, so to say, have linkage and then jump to the actual web page where they want. So both idea would be both would be the idea of our information platform. I hope this answered your question. If I think, and from my colleague Aya, who is actually in charge of this information platform part, is nodding head. So I think I did good job here.
All right. All right. All right, Mr.
Did
Ricky,
I
thank
answer
you
yours?
for your. Yes, thank you very much for the explanation on the development of information platform. I know it's still early to discuss this. However, of course, the discussion on the development of this information platform will be based by the inputs from all, and also in the interest of all ASEAN member states need to take into account. Just to mention here, just additionally, Malaysia is also of the view that the information system also not only to store the information, but maybe also for communication and sharing. Also, for example, let's say I just give a simple example. We want to know more about how the implementation of the carbon pricing system in other countries, but maybe this platform also could be a platform where ASEAN member states could ask the relevant parties that, okay, how you do this MRV guideline, what is the for example, what is the concerns of your private sector, how well, what is the sectors covered, and then how well you implement this MNR guideline in your country, something like that. So maybe just it also can become a platform for the exchange of information only between the AMS. But of course we need to take into account who will be authorized to use this platform, and then the other things. So, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Also, our idea we have is because PaSTI is focusing on the private sector engagement, we also want to create network of private companies which does transparent action, and hopefully their action they can create their own networks through our platform, so to say, sharing their experiences. I think we also have. And also we have a comment from Ms. Natalia from ASEC that they want to propose that plan to manage after the project ends, it's well clarified and elaborated this. Yes. So yes. Thank you for your comment, Ms. Natalia. We understand that we need to make it more clear. So, and I hope that the platform will be sustainable. This is very key. So I will elaborate more when we propose it actually as a proposal. Thank you for your comment. Any other comments? Then any concerns, phase 2? I think once we have the roadmap ready, I think those concerns also will be more clear, and I think it will be yes. I think you can contact us anytime if you have any concerns via email or via any matter. We want to keep continuing providing updating you once we have phase 1 completed, and then when we start actually proposing those phase 2 project. So I think phase 2 is now clear what we want to propose, and I really appreciate the support by Malaysia, their suggestion to have testing in their country. Any other support we will appreciate. So please, if you have any ideas what we could do about the testing of those guidelines, we are appreciated, and please contact us. So I think we can wrap up the session 2 also. We are a bit early, but I think this is sign of that we are together, so to say. We are having everybody is on the same page, and I think it's a good thing. And so one more question is that I hope everybody has watched the video about what we prepared for this webinar. Is it okay if we share, if OECC publicize it on YouTube? Right now, it's only for the closed members, so to say. Everybody who has the link can watch it, but I think this also will, for example, the Budikas, Mr. Budikas explaining how the roadmap is very important, very interesting information, and I think if we can have it open for the public, I think we can I think what's the right word? We can have the PaSTI-JAIF project more popular, and I think it will be very good. So if you have any worry about the about making those videos available to public, please mention now. Please intervene now if you have any concern or any concern about making those videos available to public. If there's no comment, then I think we can move on, as now that I got endorsement of making those videos public. And I think I'm gonna wait 10 more seconds. And yes, so thank you very much. So yes, I think I'm gonna make this videos open to what I mean by open is that everybody can search now PaSTI-JAIF and then they can watch the video. And oh, thank you, Katanes, for your comment. That's great. So I think I'm gonna make this video available. Please spread this video if you have, if anybody is also interested in our project, and this video will be maybe available. So with this, I'm gonna also end this session 2 of this phase 2. Again, the next step is gonna be, I think NEUA will state soon, but about this phase 2 is that once we completed phase 1, we gonna make more detailed project proposal regarding also these more detailed information about the information platform. So with this, with this promise, I'm gonna end this session 2 and give microphone to Tony or Rohaya for this closing session about the next step, what the AWGCC FOPA Corp has ahead. So Rohaya, Tony, microphone is yours.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Ricky, for bringing us through this session. We first want to thank all AMS Project Focal Point for your active involvement in phase 1 of the project. We really appreciate you providing valuable inputs and support to the project, particularly during the in-country consultations. We also thank AMS for your useful comments during this webinar. What we will do as a next step is that after this webinar, OECC will be drafting a project report for phase 1, which ASEAN Secretariat will help to circulate to all AMS focal points for your inputs and comments. We will also be sharing the phase 2 concept note for your review and comments before we seek AWGCC's endorsements. We hope to have all AMS support for phase 2, and together with OECC, we look forward to your active participation in phase 2. Right, with that, I say end this next step sharing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Tony. So we are a little bit early for this to end this webinar, but I think any other comments from the focal points from other countries or ASEC, we would like to finish this webinar soon. Mr. Tree from ASEC, do you have any comments on our project or anything about next step?
Thank you, Ricky. No, we have no further inputs to the concept note, and we look forward to having the concept note for circulation to AWCC in focal points. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So then I would like to conclude this webinar, or so to say, the PaSTI phase 1. I really had great experience visiting all of your ASEAN member states. I really had fun visiting, not only fun, but it was very also learning a lot of people, new cultures. So I hope I can keep continuing working with you during next this phase also and next phase. Unfortunately, we are having right now very difficult times through COVID that almost every country visit is impossible to conduct right now. But I think in virtual way, this virtual meeting is also some interesting way to get know people, each other, and things like that. So I think we can keep continuing working with you. And I think, again, you already have heard a lot, but this COVID is not a problem, but we need to see this as an opportunity. So as I mentioned before, the phase 2, we were only thinking about maybe 2 or 3 pilot project testing, but maybe we can, thanks to this COVID, maybe we can expand this pilot project testing countries to 4 or 5 or 6 or even more if we if we can coordinate and cooperate efficiently. So with this, I hope I want to thank you for the cooperation and your effort and your support during this phase 1. And I hope we can keep working together in next phase also. So thank you very much. And with this, I want to close this webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yes, it was nice to meet you all. Mr. Rizwan, can you